Of all the bugs mankind has discovered, one in particular is more plaything than pest. Yes, Herb Schaper's bug stands on 6 legs high above the rest. What's in a name? How the meaning of this word went from misery to amusement is proof of the power of play and the resilience of people. This is the story of Cootie. Herb Schaper was a jack of all trades. He was a mailman, baker, highway worker, and popcorn machine repairman. He also had a serious Santa streak. He once owned a toy store, and by all accounts was a jolly man of 300+ pounds who used his whittling skills to make wooden toys for neighborhood kids. As the legend goes, in 1948, Herb was carving a fishing lure in the shape of a bug and thought that its funny appearance would interest kids more than fish, and so he set out to make a game. This Associated Press article from 1955 reports that Schaper based his new Build-A-Bug game on an old Draw-A-Bug game. For countless years, people have been playing a game called Flea, the article read. Far more people called it by another name, Cootie. In fact, between 1925 and 1945, countless announcements appear in newspapers describing this bug-drawing game by that particular name. The origin of the word cootie is believed to be kutu, the Polynesian word for body lice, but it was British soldiers that coined the English word cootie to describe the lice they encountered in the trenches of World War I. Later, American troops adopted the name. The unsanitary conditions of trench warfare caused these cooties to spread quickly from soldier to soldier. Reprieves from fighting were filled with itching, inspection of uniforms, washing and shaving of heads. Soon the word cootie arrived to America in the form of news reports and stories from the front. Around 1915, 3 years before the war ended, the Irving Smith Company in Chicago produced the first known cootie game. Inside a box with a glass cover were weighted caplets and a wire trap. The object was to tilt the box to capture the cooties. The game was popular enough for the company to claim millions sold in 1917 and the greatest selling game ever known in this ad from 1920. We told the Cootie war story through play. In games, yes, but also through poems, songs, and even cartoons. One reason to love history is that it can show us how to act. It's hard to imagine anything more hellish than the scourge of war, but with biting parasites to boot. Yet those who served responded with resiliency, humor, and service to others. After the war, the Military Order of the Cootie was established in 1920. Formed by soldiers and named after the lice that plagued them, members of the MOC volunteered to relieve the suffering of their hospitalized brothers and then expanded their service to include youth scholarships, the establishment of the VFW National Home for Children, and more. Today, the order still uses humor and play to serve others. The Cootie drawing game that emerged after World War I utilized a die, pens or pencils, and some paper. Players had to roll a 1 to start their drawing with the bug's body, a 2 to draw the head, and so forth. The first person to complete their Cootie won the game. The game was so popular it was just a matter of time before someone put it in a box to sell it. In 1927, Charles D. Bowlby, a printer in Chicago, produced the first known commercial drawing cootie game. That same year, J.H. Warder Company, also in Chicago, released a very similar game called Tootie. In 1937, a company called Rork's in Saginaw, Michigan, produced the new game of Cootie. And then in 1939, the game went 3D courtesy of Transogram, a company from New York. It was called the new and exciting way to play an old favorite. Players rolled the die and placed wooden pieces on the board to build a bug made from a wooden body, head, eyes, followed by tiny wooden dowels for the antenna, legs, and tail. Also predating Schaper's Cootie game was Bug, the old Army game by Beachcraft Games in New York. These ads mentioning the game are from 1943 and 44. In its catalog, Bug was called a new version of Cootie. Despite all these games printed across 22 years, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office granted a trademark registration for the name Cootie to William Herbert Schaper on September 30th, 1947. What Schaper's game lacked in terms of name originality, he more than made up for in terms of innovation. He made an aluminum model for all the bug parts he would soon make famous, including the body, legs, head, tongue, aka the proboscis, eyes, and antenna. He brought the model around to friends and attracted 9 investors who helped him buy molds to make a new kind of game. In 1949, the Schaper Manufacturing Company became the first company in the world to make a game almost entirely out of plastic. Plastic parts made by injection molding were so revolutionary at the time, the company positioned itself as a maker of plastic games. Even Santa got in on the promotion. Imagine how much the world of games, with all its flat cardboard, paper, and wooden pieces, was upended by these shiny, three-dimensional colored bug parts. The industry would never be the same. The Sarasota Toy Museum is today's sponsor. This 6,000 square foot fun factory displays a vast collection of the greatest toys in history, including antique toys, cap guns, vintage lunchboxes, action figures, comic books, and so much more. Its flagship feature is a huge HO scale train layout with over 28,000 handmade trees. Of course, the museum includes many fantastic pieces of plastic like Cootie, so be sure to put the Sarasota Toy Museum on your bucket list. Herb's first major account was Dayton's, a local Minneapolis department store who bought Cootie on consignment. Before the end of 1950, 5,592 Cootie games were sold. The very first Cootie games produced by Herb Schaper's company were made in his hometown of Robbinsdale, Minnesota. That's how you know you have an original Cootie game from 1949. Robbinsdale is on the cover. As sales soared, production was moved to Minneapolis. Cootie was a 4-player game, but in 1950 Schaper released Deluxe 6 Cootie for 6 players, and then Giant Cootie for fans wanting bigger bugs. In March of that year, Herb Schaper filed his patent on a separable toy figure for a construction game. After Cootie was featured on the Captain Kangaroo TV show in 1952, over 1.2 million games were sold. Yet the word Cootie hadn't lost its original meaning. In 1952, the polio epidemic struck America, with almost 58,000 cases reported. Around this time, it's believed that the playground game of Cootie Tag took hold, where kids catch cooties from members of the opposite sex.
Anyone might get a disease.
I have cooties.
They're easy to get rid of.
All you needed was a pretend prick of a needle and the rhyme,
Circle, circle, dot, dot, now you've got your cooties shot.
If that didn't work, kids made a folded paper cootie catcher to do the trick. Social scientists believe that sophisticated group games like this emerge when kids are struggling to understand what's happening in the world around them. And that's how catching cooties became a permanent part of kid culture. In 1953, with the sales of Cooties skyrocketing, Herb Schaper was written up in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune as a hometown hero. 3 years later, he printed 1 million Cootie comic books in a promotion that aimed to make the Cootie Bug a celebrity too. It worked. In 1957, over 6 million Cootie games were sold. Cootie received its first major packaging overhaul in 1966, followed by the release of a giant 8-player game called Cootie House. In 1971, Herb Schaper sold his company to a subsidiary of Bethlehem Steel and retired, but not before selling an estimated 25 million Cootie games. The new owners of the biggest bug in Toyland shook things up in 1972 when the game and the bugs got a major facelift. A huge TV audience was reintroduced to the game in 1975 when the new Cootie Bug became a float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. In 1980, Herb Schaper died of cancer at the age of 66, but his creation lived on. Over the years, the newly named Schaper Toys made other bug-themed games like Tumblebug, Ants in the Pants, and Ticklebee, but none of them reached the heights of Cootie. Today, Cootie is made by Hasbro and comes with new parts that include buck teeth, lips, sunglasses, and a mohawk, plus a spinner instead of a die, but the bug building fun remains. It's estimated that over 50 million Cootie games have been sold since 1949. That's one serious infestation of fun. What toy or game would you like to see me cover next? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider hitting that subscribe button so you never miss out on the fun. Life is short. Seize the play.